So what's our first topic?
So Kevin Barbary had brought up an Addams Family movie that we hadn't seen called Addams Family Reunion.
Oh yeah.
And I got about 16 minutes into that. And it was one of those things I remembered when it came out, but I'd forgotten. And when I saw it, I realized why it was kind of forgotten so quickly.
Yeah.
But it had Tim Curry in it. So
it did. And you know what? I remember that too. I remember actually seeing it a long time ago.
So I suppose we can start with like the introductions and then we go into the discussion. So
yeah. So go ahead.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Breakdown, the show where we talk about things we may or may not have missed in the podcast. And to check out current shows, just click on the link in the description below. But I'm Bret Herholtz, along with
Andrew Shanley.
And today, our last discussion, we talked about the Addams. We talked about the Addams Family. We talked about like the comics, the various television shows, the various animated series. But Kevin Barbary, when we were talking about it, mentioned a movie I'd kind of almost forgotten about because I didn't see it at the time, was Addams Family Reunion. Mm-hmm. And it came out in 1998, and it was around the time, it was it was a few years after Raul Julia had passed away. So
yeah.
It was one of these things I think at the time, it's like the Addams Family is one of those things that, you could do various productions, but I think at the time it still felt a little bit weird doing it.
Well, I think that when the property ran it, I mean, obviously when Raul Julia died, that was kind of like, he was like the centerpiece of the original two movies.
Aha! Showtime!
And of course, his last movie was, Street Fighter, which is amazing.
I thought it was Mortal Kombat was his last movie.
No,
it was Street Fighter. You're right. Sorry.
Street Fighter. He was the general.
I got him. Yeah, I got the two mixed up because I think they came out around the same time, didn't they?
Game me over.
I love that character, and he's hilarious in it. He's like, game over, like all this other stuff. And so when he died, obviously the franchise kind of died with him because it was before, I think it was really before, Hollywood went crazy with, well, we'll just replace him and put another actor.
Right, absolutely.
The franchise. They didn't think of doing that back then. But I remember, I remember seeing that. It was like a kid's movie. It was really more of a children's movie.
It was one of those. It was a direct to video production, and it was actually the first two Addams Family movies were produced by Paramount, whereas this one was produced by I think it was distributed by Warner Brothers, but it was produced by Saban, who are known for, of course, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and so you kind of know where we're going with this one.
After 10,000 years, I'm free. Time to conquer Earth!
It had a feel to the production value to that, too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's now free on YouTube, and watching like the first, and actually I ended up talking with Kevin about it, and it's like, I told him, it's like, I got about 16 minutes into it. He goes, you did too. He ended up, having to stop watching it around the same time, but the whole first, I don't know how long it took, but it just seemed like it took for ages. They had this whole joke where the mailman's trying to put mail in the mailbox.
Closer. Scram!
And it's a gag that probably they could have done in like maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops. And they ended up dragging this out even worse than a Blake Edwards film with the sight gags. And the actor himself playing the mailman is obviously went to like the Jim Carrey school of overacting, and it's like, and it just drags on, and I'm just thinking to myself, this could, like I said, this could have been like this could have been 2 minutes long. This joke could have been over in 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You need to have good editing in any production. You have to have the ability to feel when a joke has gone.
And then 2 hours later in the scene, I'm over exaggerating, of course.
Yeah.
You know, they finally introduce, you know, Pugsley and Wednesday.
First one to score a bullseye gets to drive the mail truck.
Like now, for whatever reason, you know, throwing darts at the guy. Well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they introduce, of course, Tim Curry into the scene as Gomez, who I have to say that actually was really good casting with putting, you know, Tim Curry as Gomez, because Tim Curry's a really good actor, and even in this, he's, you know, he's not phoning it in. He's, you know, he's got, you know, he's of course chewing up the scenes.
Wednesday, Pugsley. How many times have I asked you not to play with the mailman while he's working?
And doing, you know, he's got that usual smile, you know, that Cheshire Cat smile that he has.
Tim Curry overall has had a lot of work in television and film. I mean,
absolutely.
He's Dr. Frankenfurter. He's the Devil in Legend. He's, you know, he's
funny. I heard a story. He actually, after Rocky Horror, he put on weight because he didn't want to get stalked anymore or associated with the character because people were stalking him. I might be getting the story wrong, but there was something like he changed his appearance physically because he was uncomfortable with the attention he was getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, you know, when you work
Clue,
he was in Clue. Geez, he did tons of stuff. But, I mean, he's had a very long career. You know, and he did like a version of Titanic. There's a version of Titanic that he was in. Okay, like a TV version that came out before James Cameron. They rushed it into production. It's got it's a crazy version. It's a 2-piece, it's like a miniseries.
Yes.
And he's in that.
He's done a lot, but he's one of these things, even like the cheaper productions, he's never phoned it in. Yeah, he's never phoned it in though.
No, he really is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
There's not a role that you can't enjoy of his. So that's probably the one thing that is probably the selling point of this thing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's like, actually, Kevin and I actually talked about it. Neither of us really cared for the actress who was playing Wednesday in it.
I hate dolls, and I resent the fact that they still see me as a child.
I mean, you had Christina Ricci, it's, you know, for a lot of the times people talk about, you know, child actors and actresses, you know, their abilities to act. I mean, watch the first Harry Potter film, you'll see.
Piss off.
But I mean, with her, I mean, in the first Addams Family movie, she was great. I mean, she, you know, she acted well and she expressed herself well. The actress they had in Wednesday was just not, in this one was just not very very good. And I don't know where they got the kid who played Pugsley. He was huge.
And play hangman with our sexy neighbors. Just like old times.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember, like, in our discussion with the Munsters as well, like, there was an original pilot that was actually shot where they had a different Lily and a different, you know, different son. And the son was just like, he was just like the worst.
Yeah.
You know, like the different lady that played Lily wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But like the person who played, the kid that played, you know, Junior or whatever they called him in the pilot, the original Munsters pilot, Eddie in the original Munsters pilot was just horrible. He was just terrible. I mean, it all comes right down to chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it really, and I would even go back to our interview with Gary Wolf, where they were shooting with, like, you know, every actor under the sun doing Valiant, and they couldn't find him until they got Bob Hoskins.
Yeah,
and they were like, who is this guy, and everything else like that. So, I mean, I'm not surprised at all.
And the other problem I had with, you know, watching the scenes is I feel like a lot of these newer productions confuse the Addams Family with Garbage Pail Kids.
You know, this stuff is so gamey and pungent. You really have a way with roadkill, Esmeralda.
The secret's in the dung beetles. Gives it that extra crunch.
Yeah.
Because it was like a scene of them all eating like dung beetles and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, I don't really, in the whole plot was supposedly Gomez's grandparents were becoming normal. You know, they had a disease where they were turning normal. And it's like, even that, it's like, okay, so you have a plot point, but still that kind of goes against the whole feeling of the original Addams Family is they didn't see themselves as unusual. They, you know, it's like, you know, something like, you know, in the original show, you'd have like maybe a guillotine in the house and somebody's like, you have a guillotine in the house. And Gomez is like, why? Doesn't everybody? You know, they saw themselves as just being, you know, they're just like the average American family, you know, and they don't see themselves as outsiders. Which,
well, the humor they needed to do is they needed to do more subtle type humor.
Yeah.
Like you watch the original show when they did it in the 60s, and then you see the movies, how they did in the 90s, and they didn't overwhelm it. There were certain aspects that they added into it.
Well, there was one scene with Grandmama in the original movie where she's like, you know, dinner's going to be late and she's chasing after the neighborhood pets, which was funny. That was actually, yeah. But I mean, to go like the over the top gross out humor, even with the new animated film, which I didn't mind bits of it, but you know, they have a scene where like Pugsley's like picking his ear and putting it in his mouth. And it's like, people seem to just confuse the Addams Family with the Garbage Pail Kids, or I don't know what it is. I think they think creepy, or even with the new one, they, you know, it's like they have them sort of disconnected from the outside world. It's like, no, but even in the original series, they were part of the inside world. They just went to the beat of their different drummer, but they didn't see themselves as different. I mean, there was a whole, I was just watching one where Pugsley, an old episode where Pugsley's trying to get a job and he's breaking into all these other jobs, and he breaks into a bank vault and starts counting the money. And at one point, when Morticia's being very matter of fact, talking about, you know, all the jobs he could have in the bank, and the guy's just like, the bank vice president goes, "Lady, are you out of your mind?" And all of a sudden she just stiffens and says, I think you have to leave." You know, suddenly, you know, it's like, you know, how, you know, I'm completely in my right mind. It's like,
exactly.
But that was always the thing about the show. They saw themselves as, they didn't see themselves as abnormal. They didn't see themselves as you know, kooks. They saw themselves as an average family. And I think that's the problem I saw with like that Addams Family Reunion is this, like, you know, my parents are turning normal.
This sorrow is so much more than I can bear. Is there nothing to ease the unspeakable sadness that fills my heart? Oh, good. The mail is here.
Whereas if it was the original series, they just see their parents as, you know, they might see themselves like, oh, they're acting unusual. They wouldn't see this like suddenly they're turning into everybody else. Whereas it felt like in the original show, they just felt like they were like any other family.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Wikipedia page about this movie too, it's just like they had no idea what the hell they were doing. They shot it in 30 days.
Well, that was the other thing I read about was I think the director wanted it to be a movie, whereas Saban, again, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers people.
Yeah. I hope I can be that confident the next time.
Girl, looks like you've definitely overcome your fear of heights.
What was looking at television series? Which I think they ended up doing a TV series, The New Addams Family, but they didn't have
no.
They didn't have Tim Curry or Daryl Hammond. No, not Daryl. I'm sorry.
Daryl Hannah was in that. Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name again? I'm sorry.
Daryl Hannah was
Daryl Hannah. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So they ended up having a different Gomez and Mortician.
Oh no! They're back!
Those scary costumes.
Those horrifying voices!
Oh, Gomez, what has this world come to?
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Different. The only one that actually came back was the actress who played Wednesday, who I don't think does any acting anymore. And I feel bad criticizing because she's probably a very nice person. Just it wasn't a very good production.
No, the new Addams Family actually had 65 episodes.
Yeah.
from
And it
October
wasn't-
98 to 2001.
And it still wasn't much better, although it did have John Astin in it.
I'm back.
As
did.
Grandpa.
It did, and it was great to have him kind of be the character, you know,
Yeah.
because he was the original guy.
Yep.
But I mean, like, it sadly, disappeared after 3 seasons, and it wasn't, it never really caught on again. I think the one thing about Addams Family is it's like lightning in a bottle. If you get it right, it's great. If you don't, it's gonna fail.
It's
And
gonna yeah.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a bad cover version, and that's what
Pretty
this
much.
movie felt like.
Yeah.
Oh, darling. I do so look forward to us growing old together, sharing the misery of our declining years. Cataracts, uncontrollable halitosis.
Yes, arthritis, kidney stones.
Disfiguring medical procedures.
So,
And
all I gotta
people
say
can
about that.
yeah, and people can see it for free on YouTube. So
Yep. There's a
if
reason why you can watch it for free on YouTube,
Yep.
because it's all content now.
And you'll probably only get 16 minutes into it, as I did.
Or if you can go beyond 16 minutes, face the Herholtz challenge. Can you go beyond 16 minutes of the Addams
I think
Family?
that okay, yeah. If anybody can go beyond 16 minutes, I applaud you.
You will receive a valuable prize, Bret's undying appreciation,
and completely being bewildered that you could do it at all.
There you go.
Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to check out the Mental Suppository podcast on the SM Graves website. Just click on the link below our heads here and in the description, and check out new and past previous episodes.
Yeah.
And while you're there, please subscribe to the the Media Project Patreon page for cool contents and other goodies.
And don't forget to smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button, because we know where you well, we don't know where you live, but please smash the like button.
Oh, Gomez. Why, only yesterday it seemed like summer had just begun. Now I feel the swift approach of nuclear winter.
St. Looney up the cream bun and jam.
Smash that like button.